You are listening to Loud on the Set with Kyle and James.
A level-headed movie critic meets a loudmouth movie cynic. And action!
Alright, welcome back to the show. My name is Kyle.
This is James.
And today, James, what are we doing?
The Babadook.
Babadook. Dook. Dook.
Whoa! Who the fuck was that,
I heard a Babadook! Yay, we have guests! Oh my god, I'm so excited. For the first time!
Yes.
Talk about them all the time. My wonderful sister, Hallie, and her husband, my wonderful brother-in-law, Chris, are here! Yay!
Alright, Hallie and Chris.
Newly transplanted to California. Welcome to the podcast studio.
Alright.
How does it feel? You've listened to episodes before, right?
TBH did not realize this was happening in your living room most of the time.
Well, most of the time it happened someplace else until now it happened in the living room.
Because this is normally where I sleep
Yes.
when I stay here.
This is your bed right here, yes. Yeah, this has happened many places, but this is relatively new. So welcome.
Thanks.
So full disclosure, Hallie and Chris just got off a plane. Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
And how does it feel?
Feels good.
Pretty tired.
Which is the perfect time to talk about the Babadook.
Excellent.
When else will we talk about it? So first of all, James, you have a segment on the show that you would like to start with our new guest. So what do you call that segment again?
Why the hell should we listen to you?
So let's start. Hallie, why the hell should we listen to you?
Who are you?
Yeah.
What are you? Why are you? There you go.
Who am I? Hallie, Kyle's older, far more amazing sister.
Wiser,
Whoa.
for sure.
What am I? I am a medical doctor. Booyah.
Yeah.
And why should you listen to me? Again, Kyle's older, wiser sister.
She saw movies before I was alive, maybe. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Or at
but-
least probably more than me at this point. You've had more years to see movies.
Sure.
Yes. Well, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Chris?
Yay.
Sisto.
And I am
Chris.
Allie's husband, Chris. Where do I come from? Ohio. Where lots of great people come from. And
Right,
why
Chris.
why should you listen to me? I don't know. No one ever listens. This is kind of new for me. I don't
All
really
right.
have a reason.
Well, Chris, Doctor of Laws. We can listen to you about many a thing. But you like movies, right?
Oh, I love movies.
Great.
Excellent.
Awesome. So we're going to go more in-depth with both of you, and we're going to have you run something called the Gauntlet later on. But today, we're talking Babadook.
Yeah.
So, the Babadook. Hallie, you're not too big on scary movies, right?
I mean, you just have to put up with my night terrors afterwards.
Jeez.
Chris,
But I will subject myself to them.
Okay. Chris, how are you in scary movies?
Oh, I love them.
You love them?
Love them. Love them to death. They usually fail to scare me, and that's not just an exaggeration. Only a couple movies have really gotten me, so I kind of look forward to going to the movie theater. It's like, is this going to be the one that scares the shit out of me? But sadly, it's never the case.
I don't know if that's going to come up later, so just right now, what's the scariest movie you can think of?
It's a really stupid one. The last movie that truly scared me was Jeepers Creepers, which was a terrible movie.
Jesus.
Right. A terrible movie, but man, it got me. 14-year-old me was really scared.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 14-year-old me could not deal with the grudge and that girl's jaw fucking hanging off her face. That was no good. I wasn't liking that. Anyway, you want to hear the grudge sound? Have I done the grudge sound on the podcast before?
I don't think so.
I wonder if I can do it while I'm sick. There it is.
All right.
That's the grudge sound.
Very good.
This is what we do. Welcome to the show. Okay.
Welcome to the living room, ladies
Yes,
and
the
gentlemen.
living room show. So, James, Babadook. How did you... You're not the type of guy that I would expect to just see the Babadook out of the blue, so how did you see it?
All right. I saw it because a fan of the podcast, Karen.
Karen.
Shout out to Karen.
Shout
Hi, Karen.
out.
She recommended to Loud on the Set next time we do Halloween episodes to review the Babadook. I said, I haven't seen it. And I think it was name dropped during our Fast Forward episode, and I was like, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
You got
because
upset.
I had seen it.
Yeah. And I said, all right, let me try to see it. I saw it with my brother during Halloween. I told that story about how my brother ejected his daughter from the room when the mother started. I think Kyle doesn't like this phrase, but like in the Do you remember what happens, Chris, Hallie? Or you?
No,
yeah.
I do.
When
I
the mother is really
I know.
lonely, what she does to overcome her
Of
loneliness.
course.
All right, well, my brother made the parental decision to not expose his 13-year-old at the time daughter to that. It was like, all right, go to bed. You know.
We live in soft times.
Yeah. Anyway, should we get into the plot summary?
Yeah, so you saw it with your brother,
Yeah.
and just kind of off the cuff, somebody recommended it
Yeah.
to you. I saw it because it popped up on a list of scary but good movies.
Yes.
And I had wanted to see a good scary movie for a while, and Kira loves scary good movies.
Oh.
So that was one that we saw together, and I loved it. What about you two? How did you see it, and did you see it together?
I watched it in my living room with all the lights on because you wouldn't stop talking about it. And on our wall-mounted early 2000s weird TV.
It is over a fireplace.
In fairness, yes. And then, Chris, your experience of the Babadook.
So I passively watched Babadook. I was actually playing Sid Meier's Civilization 6.
What the hell is that?
So, Sid Meier's Civilization 6, for those who aren't familiar, it's kind of like a board game on a computer, if that makes it's like Risk. It's really advanced
A
Risk.
board game makes it sound way more casual than you
Yeah,
actually
but
take it.
Oh, it's serious.
So while you were world dominating in the cybersphere, the Babadook was happening in the room around you.
Well, to offer you some perspective, I think I was Australia, and my friend, I think, was playing as China. But anyway, we were playing on the hardest difficulty, and we were trying to take over the
God
world.
What does this have to do with anything?
This is important. No, this is important. This goes back to the
All
movie. I promise. So we built the greatest fleet known to mankind because it was a very ocean-heavy map. You kind of go around the world. It's not necessarily indicative of what the real world looks like. So anyway, we built
Unless
the
it's
world's
Waterworld.
greatest...
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
That would have been a better movie to watch during
Yeah.
it. But so we built the world's greatest fleet, and Hallie was in the chair, occasionally screaming or curling up in the chair.
So it startled you.
Startled her.
I had all the lights on.
But I think had Hallie been playing Sid Meier's Civilization 6, she wouldn't have been as scared because honestly, the problems of the movie seem small. We're sailing across the ocean. The fate of the world is in the hands of two fleets, China and Australia, to stop, the world evil. And I turn around and there's a little boy scared in a car in a station wagon screaming. It just seems the problems really felt small. So I don't know if that's a lesson for watching scary movies.
Wow.
Or if this is the flaw with the Babadook. But
Great analysis.
Maybe we need to show him the fucking trailer for Justice League. The world is at risk.
Yes.
I won't watch any.
No?
Nothing with the event. Nothing. No.
All right. Anyway,
Can't do it.
It was really bad.
It's bad.
So yeah, so there we are. We caught up. So
All
the
right, here we
Babadook, for those that don't know, we like to have our guests do a crash smash short summary of the movie, as short as you can go. So how would you sum up the Babadook?
Oh God.
What
okay.
happens, yeah.
What happens in the Babadook?
Just a quick plot summary. Spoiler alert.
I was
for
gonna
it.
say we need spoiler
Yes.
alerting.
Yes.
So
See it. It's good.
So what I'm thinking happened is there's
Through your fingers.
through my fingers occasionally is there's this mom and her young son that are living together. Mom has had issues for a long time. Young son seems to have
Dad died, right?
yeah, dad's gone, died in a car accident. Kid seems to have some emotional disturbance, outbursts occasionally at school, not really able to control what's going on with him often. Mom seems to have a lot of survivor's guilt. And her son wants to read before bed one night. He has a really hard time falling asleep often. So they're reading a story that mom's never seen before. And
Just
it's
showed up.
this freaky ass line drawing story about the Babadook.
I love the art in that book.
It's
by the way.
amazing. It's
good.
totally creepy, but it's amazing.
Super
But it's just
creepy.
about this terrifying black specter that it starts out relatively innocently when they're reading the book, and then it gets more and more creepy. You can't get rid of the Babadook. The Babadook's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things. So the mom flips out and she's like, what is this stupid book? Get rid of this. My kid already has enough problems. No more. And then a whole series of weird events starts happening.
Weird shit happens.
Including the book coming back in its like full unadulterated form again, even after she's like destroyed it and thrown it in the trash can, and then all sorts of bizarre disturbances at nighttime. So moral of the story is the quote unquote Babadook ends
and
up...
mom's doing weird shit too.
Yeah.
She's acting all crazy. Kid is all scared and he's acting all weird. Yeah.
So they're freaking out, and she starts to realize like the kid's not freaking out for no reason. There's something happening. Babadook eventually shows up. Shit goes down. Babadook gets relegated to basement. End movie, I guess. There's like a lot of plot that happens in there in terms of their like psychic disturbances in and out of
Chris is like, that's not what I imagined happened at all.
It's funny because I don't know if you have the runtime in front of you there, what the movie was, but I probably watched maybe 5 minutes of screen time, and I gathered all of that.
Get the hell out of
Oh,
here.
no, not the greater plot lines, but in the 5 minutes I watched, it was boy and mom screaming in bed, boy and mom screaming in car, policemen show up, they go to the basement.
Mom threatening to stab son.
Yeah.
I did see the threat, and then problems are resolved, end of the movie.
Yeah, it ends abruptly, and you have a lot to say about the Ravel at the end, right?
Poor Ravel.
Poor Ravel at the end.
Poor Ravel.
Yeah.
Because
pretty steep.
Because my thing is this. The fucking Babadook, spoiler alert, is just, it's symbolic of her inner torment, right? Her mental state. And so my thing is, once that becomes clear in the movie that, it's a figment of her imagination. And by the way, I'm probably stealing this from some other comedian, but are there any other figments? It's one of those words that's only used in conjunction with imagination. Kind of like ominous. It's always, clouds are always ominous.
That is inherently interesting to me, James.
It's like
Anyway, I apologize to whoever I'm ripping that off from, but there's never figments of like apples.
No.
Well, there's a brand opening there for Fig Mints. You can make a candy or a cookie, and then you're...
Well, we're gonna have to edit that out because somebody's gonna steal a $1 million idea right now.
But it's like you can't.
disgusting.
No one's ever gruntled, but everybody's always disgruntled. We have these
yeah.
strange words like that. And
Very
right?
good.
There's
Who is
only one
gruntled?
setting.
Being reckless can cause a wreck, even though a minute ago you were reckless.
Punning out.
Punning out of control. What's
Oh, I hate
happening
it when you
right
pun
now?
yourself. Anyway, back to the Babadook.
This movie was Australian.
Alright, who fucking cares?
No, I care because
I didn't get a chance to make my point.
because Australian movies are dark and depressing as shit, and they're always really character focused,
Are
and
they?
it seems like nothing happens in them.
Even Crocodile Dundee,
That doesn't count. Anyway, make your point.
Kangaroo Jack. Shout out to Chris. Alright, so my thing is this. You figure out, well, you don't figure out, they lead you to believe and to know that it's the mom's inner turmoil is the Babadook. It's the thing that scares the kid. It's the problem, right? It's the villain, the enemy, the bad guy, whatever you want to call it. And then the ending just gets so overblown. There's like a vortex. She's fucking throwing up shit all over the place.
That was weird.
And then, all right, so the ending, the end scene, the final battle, if you will. There shouldn't be a final battle. You know, there should just be a self-confrontation.
Yeah, with his little like Home Alone traps that he makes.
Yeah,
and shit.
remember that? Like, yeah, like it kind of like It Follows. It's a classic unraveling. Like you have something really good, a psychological horror thriller, and you don't know how to pivot. You don't know how to hit the climax and then get to the resolution. So you wind up doing something goofy, like having the kids do a training montage, right, around the pool, or in the case of the Babadook, having the kid run its mother through the fucking house, booby trap, Home Alone style, right? So that was stupid. The throw-up scene was stupid. And the fact that the Babadook still kind of manifests itself at the end and she has to feed it worms, you don't have to do that anymore. Like, you've gone from the materialistic, the actual, like, tangible shit that they thought was happening around them to the metaphorical in that it's an illness. So you don't need a can of worms at the end.
I did like the worms.
Why?
And I will
I
tell
did
you
too.
why. I like the worms because it was very symbolic of what she was going to have to do and carry with her for the rest of her life. Was that this evil was going to be there, and she was going to have to address it, and was going to have to give it its due, and it was going to be ever present in her life. So the worms kind of symbolized the shit that she was going to have to feed it and deal with over her the rest of her life.
As somebody who does worm composting, I was offended. Kidding. Fucking kidding.
So anyway, where did this rank on the scare-o-meter for you? Because there were a couple of jump scares, but it was mostly just kind of unsettling the whole time.
Yeah, generally...
Ding!
Sorry. That was
That's
a
our
mistake.
bell for our game shows.
That's done.
Where the hell did that come from? All right, good.
So generally not super scary. I mean, again, it's not jumpy. This is a psychological thriller. You could really break it down and just analyze it as a psychological torment for all the different characters.
We're
and,
the same person. I don't know
What
if
is
you're-
this voice? I
if
like
you're
it.
picking this up right now.
over the whole movie. But so yeah, it wasn't really too scary. I just don't do teeth well. Like if you've got freaky pointy teeth and you are a humanoid character, I do not handle that well.
Interesting.
Reference recent It clown. Terrifying. Why
Did
do
you see the It?
Not yet.
Okay.
Why do you have xenomorph teeth though? I
Yeah.
don't want that. Get away from me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to piggyback on what you just said. Thank you. No reaction? All right.
Wait,
I've heard it too many times.
All right, we got to get some new lexicon. A fun movie, not in terms of the jump scares, but in terms of if you're sitting next to somebody, like, hold on to each other, like,
tense.
suffer through
Yeah.
scenes together. But that's
Much
why,
like It Follows, too.
Yeah.
Which you should probably never see. That shit was crazy.
Or like the Tombs episodes in the X-Files.
Yes.
Yeah.
Similar, granted, that was a little more jumpy. Definitely psychologically, like,
There were some really
Messing
good
with
X-Files episodes that did very similar things to
Yeah.
this because they were very character-centric. They wanted to introduce you to somebody who seemed like normal that existed in the world, and then their life was just totally fucking crazy or outlandish. And that's the good writing that came from that. The Tombs.
Right. So I guess if I could turn back to digital geopolitics for a moment, I've seen a lot of parallels here because, again, as I was playing the game, I was John Curtin of Australia, and I would recommend everybody watch this movie and play Civilization, then digest it with a podcast because
Okay.
I've learned a lot. You said it was kind of a hollow ending to the movie, and it was a hollow ending to our game. We ended up winning with nuclear warfare, which was a very hollow feeling way to win
yes,
the game.
man.
And I also questioned the world in the same way you're questioning the world after the end of this movie. So, again, just something I'd recommend. Definitely opened up my perspective.
Your contribution to this is nothing short of extraordinary.
Where would we be without
I'm
this?
very happy about this.
All right,
This is
Kyle,
perfect.
Hallie, I'm going to address you two because Chris didn't fucking watch the thing. So
What did you think of the look of the Babadook, though? You know what it looks like.
I didn't.
You didn't?
And you know, it's almost better that way.
Yeah.
All right, here's the thing I was going to say as I eat. Fucking help me out here. There's a scene in the movie. I don't want to call it a huge plot hole, so here we go. New lexicon again. Tiny fucking plot hole. The Babadook, right? The Babadook. What?
You lost a goldfish there.
What happened? Ew. Oh my god, what a disgusting individual I am. All
Look
right.
at a can of worms.
These are the things you can't enjoy, listeners. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me set
Just
this
gotta
up for
take
you.
our word for
this
it.
is excellent radio.
The Babadook is meant to be a manifestation somehow of the mom's nut jobbery, right? Sorry.
Yes. As a psychiatric doctor.
No, that's a clinical term. Clinical term.
Right? But here's the thing.
Nut jobbery, for sure.
There's a scene in the movie, and that makes sense for the most part in the movie, right? Nighttime stuff happening, objects reappearing in the house that had been discarded, yada yada. All right, it makes sense. You could imagine that the mom would be flipping out and doing those things, right? But there's a scene in the movie where that is not aligned, and that's when they're in the car. Do you remember this? The
Yeah,
mom's
I do.
driving, and they're coming back from someplace, I don't even know where.
School, I think.
Yeah, and the kid has been acting a little bit weird, fine. But he starts acting weird in the back seat of the car. All right? And he starts claiming that he can see, I think, help me out here, the Babadook. He's freaking out, he's screaming, he's all shit. And the mom is like, calm down, what's wrong? It's here, blah, blah, blah. And she has to pull over and do all sorts of crazy shit and whatnot. All right, that doesn't make sense because the audience sees both of the characters in the scene, the mother and the kid. The mother is not flipping out. The kid is claiming to see the Babadook. So I don't like that scene because you're trying to figure out what is this entity? What is this Babadook the whole time? And if you're sharp and on top of things, you might start to think, oh, I think it is the mom. I think it's her disturbed state manifesting itself and scaring the kid. Yada yada. But when the scary thing happens, when the mom is being totally fine and sane and also confused about the situation, that's not consistent.
But she's in the car.
Doesn't matter.
Right. That's. I mean, the car's like her trigger. But if I can interject.
Oh, all right.
Because that's a car crash.
The car crash killed. So it's just like if she's in the car, that's just something that she's probably in.
But in that moment, as third-party observers at the fourth wall, shouldn't we have seen her acting disturbed?
Yeah.
But nobody sees her acting disturbed at that point. Not the kid and not us, and she's not acting disturbed. So the Babadook is just there.
It's tricky. I will throw 2 points in there.
Right,
one, okay, so she's in the car, which is going to be one of her main triggers for this trauma she experienced. She has survivor's guilt because her husband died. They like allude to the fact all throughout the movie that she's also kind of like, she expresses that she is unhappy that her son lived and her husband didn't, also in different ways, which even though that's a dark and scary kind of feeling to have, they do explain that, and I'm sure that's pretty normal on the spectrum of like human reactions to stuff. So she's in the car, and she's got now the symbol of, she's got her own survivor's guilt. She's got the living symbol of her husband being dead, and this other person who's not like, you know, an emotionally mature like mate for her. It's her kid that she's responsible for, and it's causing her all this stress.
Fuck.
But then,
God, what a hideous looking goofball.
But second point, so here's where I from a kid perspective,
comedy podcast.
This is where I'm thinking, so like you said, the Babadook appears when the mom's like emotionally distressed, right? But also, I have to wonder if by that point in the story, after the kid has seen like the Babadook book and stuff, you're getting a little bit of combination of like the kid reacting to the mom's stress and back and forth, but also now he's seen this like weird, creepy character in this book. I couldn't even read The Little Old Lady Who Swallowed the Fly. Like, literally, I probably still can't without feeling wildly uncomfortable. Like, kids, like, latch on to characters in stories, especially if they're visual, like, creepy drawings and stuff, and that, you know, they can, like, play with that in terms of
I was thinking of that, too.
Imaginary
and
friends
clearly,
or, like, illusions and stuff like that.
Clearly, the kid is also, I mean, feeling disturbed, and this has affected him in a big way. So I think it's that, like, the hive mind mentality of them kind of living in the depression and the horror together. And for the mom, it's much more realized just because she has a bigger worldview and a more developed understanding of what happened. And for the kid, it's more just kind of whimsically out there beyond kid reach. But some things are kind of seeding in and are feeding that cloud.
It's kind of like an enmeshed, like it's like a two-person delusion almost, because they're so enmeshed in each other's lives, and like the kid's emotionally disturbed, which stresses the mom out. Mom already has her own like mental health issues to grapple with at baseline, and then the additional stress of her kid having his own problems, so they're like constantly living in this turmoil together, coming from both sides and everything else. So
how does that sound to you, Chris?
Indeed.
I got something else for your consideration, and that is I want to return to the Ravel.
The Ravel.
Poor Ravel.
Poor Ravel.
Here's another reason why I didn't like the Ravel. And that's this. They achieve a lot of the tension, they achieve a lot of the scare, they achieve a lot of the unease in the movie with simple, low-budget special effects, right? I think we can all appreciate that.
Definitely.
Right? Definitely. The end was not that at all, right? Suddenly you have, like, Technicolor rainbow vortex things and whatnot.
Yeah,
and I like when a movie, like what M. Night used to be able to do, and that is achieve scares with very minimal effort, right? You look at The Sixth Sense, you look at Signs, for example, right? A simple, like, noise, like, oh my god, would freak out the whole theater, right?
Yeah.
And the Babadook was doing that for like 80% of this movie. And then it turned into Home Alone.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they honestly didn't like dress up a person and go to the extent of like putting them on stilts so they like walked weird and were tall and like added extra rows of weird pointy teeth. Like they could have made up a person to do that very well, but I totally understand what you mean. When we had like the vortex CGI and all that stuff happening, it went from like normal stuff like your lights are flickering, oh your armoire is
Yes, thank
shaking,
you.
that's
Yep, yep.
creepy, to like now there's this like
Yeah.
you know, alternate dimension Ghostbusters type
Right.
crap happening in the bedroom.
And I think this goes back to one of the points that there are some movies that do this so well, and endings are just so hard. It's hard to wrap this up in a way that's satisfying without just ending it to the point where people are always like, well, that didn't even have an ending. Just watched a movie with Kira the other day, and I'm going to forget what it was called, but it comes at night. And it was produced as a horror drama, and it's basically about some post-apocalyptic area. Nobody knows what's going on. Everybody's kind of on their own, and shit's all going to hell. And it's super tense the whole time. It's low, no budget, and the scares are the realities of the unknown. And
Sure.
and when you get to the end of the movie, a bunch of shit happens, and it unravels, but it unravels in a way that's very unsatisfying because of its realism, but is satisfying in its character development. And then it just feels like the movie ends because there's not like an overcoming. So whenever they try and do like the big overcoming of something like this, they always kind of inherently lose something from it because it takes on an unrealistic approach. And then I guess sometimes they try and use symbolism and metaphor and things to kind of overblow it and build it up. What do you think?
So I have to ask you, what's your opinion of the ultimate low-buck horror film with a simple ending, The Blair Witch Project?
Ooh,
I love it.
Oh, they've talked
Okay.
about this.
Yeah.
Thumbs
What
up.
do you think? Did you hate it?
I didn't. I remember everyone hated it at the time, but I thought it was simple enough. It got the job done.
I loved it. And
I like the ending too. I would I'll take an ending that leaves you in suspense as to what did just happen. And I know Kyle isn't like this, but where I can fill in the blanks and I can take this story to where my imagination takes it, like what happened at the end of Blair Witch. It just boom, right? It just ends.
I do like that in some cases.
Okay.
You know when I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's when it's a clearly uncharacteristic,
Right. Just fall
choice
off.
ending where there's, something that needs to be decided and then it's just not inherently. That's when it sucks.
Inherently.
Inherently!
Jesus Christ. I think you're up to like 5.
So I want
Anyway.
to talk about this Ravel too, because the
Alright.
thing that, like, after hearing you, Kyle, talk endlessly about this movie, and then once it became like Pride Month this year, you started to see all of that interesting imagery and like memes made linking the Babadook as like this gay pride hero.
Really?
Really?
How did neither of you see this? It was all over the place in the media. They were, because the whole like grand metaphor of like literally shoving the Babadook back down into the quote unquote closet basement, but still down, like hiding this monster.
I should say, I was satisfied by the ending, by the way.
Yeah.
I didn't like the whole Home Alone bullshit, but I did like the ending.
I'm just saying, I'm curious to know what your guys' perspective is on that, because I'm still trying to process that, and it's like, I understand the analogy we're working with here, but it's a weird stretch to make, I think, that I'm still, like, not sure what
Maybe to...
Like, on a very glib
Right.
level, okay, whatever, it's another symbol, but on a,
I don't want to speak for anybody who can speak for themselves, but as we're talking about this, the Babadook stands for that inner turmoil, those demons that are there and the challenges that they face and the hardships that they face, and LGBTQ community and folks in it have probably faced some extremely hard and challenging and Babadook-like things in their lives where, I haven't had those experiences myself personally, and I'm sure a lot of other people haven't. So maybe it's the type of thing where that can be sort of a symbol of their overcoming of those types of things. But
and again, that part, like that base analogy, I totally understand. Is just odd to like pull this monster from a horror-ish movie to. It's really weird if you look. I mean, it's like kind of entertaining, honestly. If you look up all the meme pictures of like the Babadook with
I'll
like
have to do
rainbows.
this.
How do I put that in my search engine without coming across as totally weird and
Babadook pride, Babadook gay.
Yeah?
I went down
Babadook
a
gay question mark.
deep rabbit hole on this one.
You know when you type in anybody's name on the
Aw.
Google now, it's like the fourth thing down. It's like gay question mark.
Oh
That's the
my
society
God.
we live in now. Anyway, we're just about out of time here, so we always give a grade to the movies at the end. This one's meaty and juicy, so let's put a grade on it. Chris, you can grade it too. But we'll start with me, because I want to give it an A-. Because I didn't like there were some parts of it that just seemed kitsch, that didn't belong. Anyway.
I think, for me, since I didn't actively watch the movie,
James gave a grade to Wall-E, right? And you saw like 1 second of it, so
oh well,
you
A
can
plus.
grade it.
1 second of Wally's A plus.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
But-
You are outnumbered here in the animated department, my friend.
I know.
Eat your face.
I think I either need to do the classic pass-fail
Yes,
pop
pass
quiz,
fail.
or maybe like the crocodile sticker,
Let's
rainbow
do-
sticker
let's do pass
grading
fail.
approach. Pass-fail. I give it a pass
All
because
right.
the 5 minutes I watched, I could follow it. I could
Cool.
see what was
You
going
could also
on.
go for a lawyerly. It depends.
It
if you feel
depends.
like- okay.
That was the right answer.
All right, loyally, it depends. Passing.
So
Hallie.
it's funny that you said A- because I was like immediately gonna say, oh, probably B+, because it was like engaging. I enjoyed it. Again, watched through my fingers at some points, but didn't like super duper captivate me the way I wanted it to. Like there are horror movies out there, even more psychologically focused horror movies that have like really sucked me in much more.
Yeah.
Like you and I have talked extensively about how
Maybe you should watch It Follows.
yeah.
Because that's our
Oh,
that's
yeah.
our standard.
I
for,
recommend it. I recommend it.
Okay. Okay.
So B plus.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
B+.
It Follows is great.
All right, I'll give it a solid B. B for Babadook. I tell you what.
B for
I tell you what. It's the ending. I mean, here's the reason why I can't get any higher than a B for me. And I know I'm sort of beating this one over the head a little bit, but I was watching it with my brother and watching it with the honey baby. Shout out to the honey baby.
Shout out to the Honey Baby.
And by the end, and when he's running her through the booby traps and stuff, it caused us, the three of us together, to be like, all right. And you know when you reach that point in the movie where you're like, you throw your hands up and you're like, you've previously been sitting on the edge of your seat and like, oh
Yeah.
my god, and then you're like, fuck it, the checkout. You start checking out. I was like, done.
Yeah,
Like,
and that is
I
the
don't want
most
to watch this
unfortunate.
movie anymore. And that's why it suffered. Like you had gold and you fucked it up.
And it is unfortunate, yeah. And we said that with It Follows as
Yep.
well, because it is just it's so captivating in the tension that it was providing. And then you want a little bit more meaty resolution to something instead of a little bit more, well, slapstick, falling down the stairs. Bullshit.
Doink.
So a slide whistle would have been.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that, we're out of time. Hallie and Chris, thank you
All
for
right.
being here.
Of
Yay.
course.
Welcome to California.
Thank you.
That was The Babadook. Loud on the Set with Kyle and James. You can check us out on YouTube and iTunes. Anywhere you find podcasts, we're there. Let us know what you thought of The Babadook. loudontheset@gmail.com. Send us a mail. Go see The Babadook if you haven't, and have a wonderful time.
See you later.
And cut.